Hello and welcome to CBC Arts Exhibitionists, your cross-country tour of the Canadian art scene. I'm your host, Amanda Paris. We are celebrating International Women's Day by connecting you with some very talented artists across the country. As you can see, we're not in our usual digs. We are shooting on location at the Station Gallery in Whitby, Ontario, where I will be talking with the artist Noni Kaur. Today we'll also meet a paper artist who is a self-described folding warrior, a crochet sculptor who is promoting self-love one doll at a time, and an artist reviving the traditional practice of skin-stitch tattooing. I hope you're ready for a whirlwind celebration of women artists. I know, I was born ready. This is CBC Arts Exhibitionists. Noni Kaur is an artist who works with paintings, mixed media, and wall coverings. But today I'm here to check out her immersive, vibrant, and multi-sensory installation, Microbial Feasts. The most fascinating part is that Noni uses a primary material you probably wouldn't expect to find in an art gallery: coconut. Let's meet Noni. Hi, Noni. I am so excited to be here. We're here at Station Gallery in Whitby, which is my first time being here. This is a really great gallery.
It's beautiful. It's a gorgeous gallery.
It's incredible. It was a converted train station, I heard.
Yes, it was.
It's a very gray, overcast day, and I feel like your work, which is so colorful and so vibrant, is the perfect antidote. Wow. How is this coconut? This is not, oh my goodness.
This is coconut.
It definitely is, because I smell it, and that is a smell that I know. This is incredible and so beautiful. It smells like my hair because I use coconut oil in my hair.
Okay.
Wow. Okay, you're gonna have to walk me through this process, because even though I can smell the coconut, I cannot believe that this is actually coconut.
It is pure desiccated coconut, and it takes a long, long process for it to even get to this stage.
Can you walk me through that
Sure,
process?
yeah. This takes like 200 pounds of coconut. That is in its purest form, the white coconut. It comes uncolored. So it takes me months, maybe 8 to 9 months to color the coconut.
Wow.
And every color that you see here, the saturation of the color is due to a formula that I've created. I would color the coconut and I lay it out to dry for a couple of weeks. And this is like rows and rows and rows of colored coconut.
Wow.
For weeks, yes. Until it's really dry to the touch and it's almost like crispy and flaky. And then I know it's ready.
Has anyone ever just put their hand in and started eating?
Oh, yes.
Really?
Yes. I've had to stop people, like, you know, and I've had people, again, you know,
like orange flavored coconut.
Yeah. And because it's so tactile, it's so, you know,
I'm not gonna lie,
tangible.
I'm so tempted to touch it.
Yeah, I would let you touch
Really?
it. That's only because I'm here, but usually we don't, you know, like, yeah, just feel it.
Wow.
So what you see here is only going to be shown in this space, and every time the work is shown in a different space, it takes on a different form. This is obviously the female reproductive system, so that is the entry point, and I have the fallopian tubes, and it walks through the spine, and it goes up to the temporal lobes, which represent the head. So this is an abstraction of the main part of the female body.
Well, you've exhibited installations using coconut in several places around the world. I'm so curious about what the audience reaction has been to these installations.
Yeah, well, because it's a living piece, it's like constantly changing. The color doesn't change as much, but you can sort of like sniff it and be able to tell that the smell is, you know, sort of becoming rancid and it's starting to decay. And that becomes almost like a wonderland for the microbes to feast on this, right?
Gosh.
Yeah. I live the work. Everything that I do is very labor intensive, and it's also about the domestic rituals that we do. Being in the South Asian culture, this also stems from the ritual and art of Rangoli. Rangoli is used in homes to sort of celebrate auspicious occasions, almost like an invitation to welcome guests.
But would they use coconut?
They would never use coconut, yeah.
But it does still feel like an invitation.
It does, yeah. It is an invitation for the viewer to come in and to be immersed in the space and to understand and experience what it's like to be able to look at something from, you know, their point of view.
I do feel immersed in it. It's so different from going to a gallery and seeing paintings or seeing something on a wall. You're in this, and it's engaging so many of the senses, and I'm so glad I got to experience it in person, beyond the internet, right here.
Thank you.
This is wonderful.
I appreciate that.
And I feel like I just want to rub myself in coconut oil.
Of course, it's great for you.
I just want to smell all the time.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Noni.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
This is MINXZ, and I'm a Toronto-based artist. I'll be your exhibitionist in residence this week. You're going to be seeing a lot of my digital illustrations, which are often influenced by women, mountains, vegetal patterns, invented textures, and so much more. I really enjoy making my art look warm and fluid, and I love making my subjects look larger than life.
Coming up, meet the artist who's expanding the possibilities of paper one fold at a time.
My name is Pauline Loctin, aka Miss Cloudy. This is my artist name, and I'm a paper artist. The paper is flat, so you need to create volume out of it. There is like two fold that you do. It's mountain and valley fold. It's only that. So you learn a grid, and after that you can just play with it. I think I'm an overthinker, so every time I fold, I find a new idea. I find a new shape. You know, sometimes it's just like, it's not an image sometimes, it's even a feeling. At the same time that I create something, I create maybe 10 other things in my head. It's really abstract. Really abstract. I never do like animals. That's why I don't say anymore that I am an origami artist. They just want you to make birds, and I hate to do birds. It doesn't interest me. I want to push the boundaries. Like, when they think it's not paper, I win. When I do a mural, so it can be like maybe 10 feet by 10 feet, it can be like 10,000 fold to do by hand. Yeah, it can be insane. But sometimes there is like good accident. Because I work always like I'm trying stuff and I fail and I'm trying stuff. At some point, you're gonna find something really great. My first wavy shapes was a mistake, but at some point, it's just a good accident. And it's good to have good accident. But you need to go through all the process, and it can be long and exhausting sometimes, but this is how I create.
We wrote an article about Pauline's art last year and found her work so compelling, we returned to do this video piece. It's part of our series, Paper Cuts, which you can check out now on CBC Arts. Crochet has been proven to relieve depression and reduce stress and anxiety because the repetition releases serotonin, a natural antidepressant. It's no wonder that our next artist seems to emanate joy. Chason Yeboah is a crochet sculptor, storyteller, and doll maker. Her work not only promotes self-love and body acceptance, it also becomes a site for her own healing.
When I'm creating, especially with crochet, it's a full-on healing process for me. So, you know, serotonin is moving, but also like I'm meditating. I put in a lot of emotion to the dolls, and so when I see it finished, I can say like, wow, when I was creating you, I was in a really bad place. Or when I was creating you, I was really focusing on healing myself. Or, you know, I was feeling really sexy that day, and I'll look at you like you're like a solid object that, you know, represents my sexiness. My name is Chason Yeboah, and I am a crochet sculptor, storyteller, and a doll maker. I was working in a lot of daycares and with a lot of children, and I could see that they didn't have any proper representation of themselves. I know what it feels like to really want something that looks like me, so it just made a lot of sense to start making dolls. And one day it clicked, I'm like, I'm gonna make dolls for everybody. I'm gonna make dolls for adults, I'm gonna make dolls for kids, I'm gonna make dolls that just look like people in the way that they look in real life. When I first started crocheting, it was really important for me to use words like, you know, body celebration, body positivity, representation, and it was very literal. Now when I create, I think the fact that it's more process-oriented needs to be a part of the narrative as well. I make really large sculptures now, and they are representative of different things, and not just marginalized folks and not just people that need to be represented, but like actual things that happen in our lives that need to be represented and acknowledged as well. A lot of the things that I've been exploring are things like safety, what it means to be safe and to feel safe and to have an object, or what some people might call like a totem, to sort of represent that safety and that journey. So now when I make these large sculptures, I kind of create these things so people can not only understand my journey, but start a narrative on their own journey. Hi, okay, neck down. So yeah, this is the first mother piece that I made. So I started creating these larger pieces to act as moms. And for me, like, you know, a mom is comfort and is like safety and happiness. And obviously, or maybe not obviously, but unfortunately, that's not the case for everybody. So I kind of wanted to create this structure that kind of could be that for people. When I'm creating for a specific individual, my ultimate goal is that I get the essence of the person in the doll. I send them this questionnaire. There's like a little part that says, please describe yourself. And in that little section, whatever people decide to tell me, I get it. You know what I mean? So if someone says like, I'm really close with my family and I love my dog and the thing I love most about myself is my sandy hair. I'm just like, look at you. Like, you're so cute. Like, I'm gonna make sure you're the most wholesome, adorable little doll. I'm gonna like have a little back and forth with my patrons, because what's important for me is that ultimately this person feels like they've got a little piece, like a little mini me. I want them to know that like you exist, and just because, you know, societal standards tell you, like literally tell you that you're not important enough to represent, just know that there are a lot of people out here like you. When I create dolls that are so far away from my own likeness, I like to imagine what their life would be like, and I kind of fall into this little state where like I can pretend to be that person. And you know, it's a practice of empathy, it's a practice of imagination, it's a process of self-discovery. It's like a journey of self-love. It's all happening when I'm crocheting in my little hole, and it's been 9 hours and nobody can find me, and people are texting me, and I'm like, I don't know. This is where I'm at. So yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Coming up, we head to Halifax to meet the artist bringing back the traditional art of skin stitch tattooing. Have you heard of the art of skin stitch? I'm gonna warn you, it sounds pretty painful. It's a process of tattooing that involves running thread through ink and literally sewing it into the skin. Beyond the surface level pain that may result, there's a deeper healing in the practice. It's a tradition that has been reclaimed in recent years as part of an Indigenous tattoo revival movement. And artist Amy Malbeuf is determined to keep it going. Take a look.
My name is Amy Malbeuf. I'm from the Lac La Biche area in northern Alberta, Treaty 6 territory. I'm a visual artist and a cultural tattoo practitioner, and I'm currently living and working on unceded Mi'kmaq territory here in Terrence Bay, Nova Scotia. To wear a part of who you are so proudly on the skin is empowering, and that empowerment is a part of our healing as Indigenous women. With skin stitching, I use a sewing needle and thread. And basically how it's done is I dip the thread in ink, and the needle is then run under the skin. The needle is what creates a hole through the skin, and the thread is what deposits that ink. Then you stitch. So if you're familiar with a running stitch or a straight stitch, that's basically the technique I use, and I have to, dip that thread in the ink between each and every stitch. When we wear our cultural markings, we are saying who we are, where we come from. Our tattoos embody our lived experiences, our ways of knowing, and our Indigenous cultures. It is very much about saying to your own people who you are, but also to others, and I think that's really important. With the work that I do, it's very much about community building, uplifting community, uplifting women, and it's very much about the interpersonal exchange versus a monetary exchange. As contemporary peoples, if we can ascribe our own meanings to these designs, our own meaning from our lived realities, our lived experiences, then that's what makes them powerful. For me personally, tattooing has been a very healing journey, and through it I've also witnessed others experience healing in the tattooing process. When I think about the historical kind of process of tattooing, and I have no doubt in my mind that women were tattooing each other, just based on the process and the skills involved. I mean, women were tattooed, so why wouldn't they be the ones tattooing? In terms of my tattooing practice, but also my own researching and understanding of how these traditional and historical designs can apply to our present moment, I feel like I'm just at the very beginning of knowing and understanding that. We're at a moment in time where there's a real resurgence and an interest happening in Indigenous tattoo revival. This has been lost for so long and taken away for so long that it's important to share it with others so that we can work together and build it up, and so that it becomes accessible to our communities.
That doc was part of our digital series, Art Hurts, on female identifying or gender non-binary tattoo artists. You can check out more episodes anytime on CBC Gem. If you have an artist that you think should be on CBC Arts Exhibitionists, send me a message on social media. Our handle is @CBC Arts. Thank you so much to Station Gallery for hosting us today. And tune in next week when we'll be doing another deep dive into the captivating work of Canadian artists. Peace.